Let's start with my session. I'll speak about unlock the full potential of your Power Apps, optimization and performance strategies. So let me introduce myself. My name is Angelo Gulisano. I am a Microsoft MVP and Microsoft MCT. I work as independent consultant. I specialize in Power Platform and Microsoft 365, of course. I have been active in software development since 2007. So, and over years, I acquired skills in SharePoint, .NET, Node.js, TypeScript, Azure, and so on. And of course, I have a strong passion for Power Platform. I am a firm believer that less is more principle. So I think the simplicity are ordered essential to solving problems. I am also speaker and blogger. Here, my blog, angelogulisano.com, and my link tree with all my accounts on socials. So, the agenda, we are going to do an introduction and context, common pitfalls in Power Apps performance, monitoring and troubleshooting, data optimization strategies that we can do from today, of course, a demo, a question answer. So, when you're building an apps for your organization or for your customers, we often focus on whenever the apps works. So, for example, does it get the job done? But sometimes the real changes comes later when your application is used by 20, 40, 100 users. So if your app comes to lag, timeouts, it can be cause of frustration. So I think that performance is not just speed, it's about how users feels when user your application. Is responsive, is intuitive, is reliable. Otherwise, probably the user don't use or they stop to use your application. So I think that optimization help to build a better experience and make your application easier to maintain. Also in low code context, which is Power Apps. So slow app is equal to frustrated users, and frustrated users is equal to low adoption. And today, hand-on strategies and not just theory to how to optimize your application. So let's see the common pitfalls when you build Power Apps and when you have a problem into performance. So before to jump into solution, I want to quick look at the most common killers in Power Apps performance. Probably more people, almost every check this problem, myself included. For example, overuse on visible, on start, or complex formulas. Ignoring delegation warnings. Okay, you probably see the little yellow triangle in the formulas, and okay, it still works. But these warnings can put you in issue with the performance, or also from retrieve data point of view, or put too many controls in a single screen, or repeated data calls to your data source, no caching, no optimization, or put the chatty logic across multiple screen of components. Okay, there are the common pitfalls from my point of view, from Power Apps point of view, okay, from the application. But we should see also common pitfalls from a data source point of view. As you know, you can use online data source like SharePoint, for example, or SQL Azure, but you can also use, for example, on-premises data source like SQL Server. So you should pay attention to if your data source is missing or are incorrect indexes. If use database, for example, the query combines an extremely large amount of data on the server, or if the query requires a scan table, for example, if you use in operation instead starts with, or if the backend computer hosting data source have few resources, or if are blockage or conflicts and something else. So my opinion is you should also understand the data source point of view, especially if you are using to on-premises data source. So there are common pitfalls in Power Apps, but first of all, we need to understand how can we check if there are some problems in our applications. So monitoring and troubleshooting tools. Basically, we have three tools to understand if there are some problems. The first one is monitor tool to check real-time session insights. Then we have a new tool called the monitor page, is in preview, and then we can use application insight from Azure. So let's go ahead. Okay, the first one is monitor tool. So in order to evaluate general performance or identify possible issues of our application, we need to monitor it. Okay, so the right tool is a monitor tool, and it can reply to some question that we can do to ourselves. For example, does the application retrieve data too frequently? For example, can you optimize the app to retrieve data only when required? Or, for example, do timer controls trigger too often? Or do many events occur when the application starts, for example? Or if you retrieve data from the same data source, can we apply different patterns, such as, for example, cache some data, check the size of the response from our data source, and we can understand if our filters apply correctly, or if we can reduce the amount of data requested. Query durations, errors, of course, if there are some errors, if when we can call a data source or do something in our application. So with this tool, we can check all this information real time. Then I can show you how you can do this with a real example. So the second is monitor page. This is a feature, this is a preview functionality. Basically, you can pin, as I show you in the left side of the page, you can pin monitor. And monitor page show the metrics tabs at the top for our application. There are a top 3 unperforming application for metrics. If your application performing well, like I show in this screenshot, no app listed on the tab, so don't mind. The first one, app success rate is under 90%, indicates the percentage of app launch attempts that successfully allow end user to access to your application, and all metrics are calculated every 24 hours. The second one is time to interact. Measure the time to end user wait to access to the first screen, and it doesn't include data. like filling rows or gallery or table, for example. And the last one, time to full load is over. Measure the time when the user wait to see all data displayed on the first screen of your application. In this case, it also takes time to load all data from data source that you get data for the first screen of your application. This is a new tool that we can use just to check quickly if there are some problems or not. And the last one is application insight. So basically, you have the in app properties of your application, you have a connection string to application insight, and you can connect your Canvas app to application insight, which is a feature of Azure Monitor. Application insight include powerful analytics tool to help you to diagnose issues and understand what the user actually do with your apps. You can collect information to drive better business decisions of your application, improve quality of your app. For example, you can check the number of users who viewed your application, number of user sessions, number of events logged, user operating system, browser version, users region, etc. The big difference between application insight and monitoring tool is that monitoring tool is real time. You can use it to check and debug session with your user, okay? And with application insight, you can collect logs and check. You can check it later, okay? So we spoke about the common pitfalls, okay? From different point of view, application, of course, data source. We spoke about the instrument that you can use to understand or check if there are problems or not. And now we can speak about data optimization strategies. So how can we do to avoid problems or improve our application for our business users? So the first one is use delegation when you can, of course. It's not always possible, but when you can, you should use delegation because Power Apps works as a best when it's connected to a backend data source that fully understand and execute queries written in PowerFX. So what happens behind the scenes is that Power Apps translates your PowerFX expression in equivalent query to your data source. You know, you write always the same query. You write lookups. You write filter query. Behind the scenes, Power Apps translate these queries for your data source. Yeah, if your data source is SharePoint or if your data source is SQL Azure, don't matter, don't mind, because you write PowerFX and it translates to your data source. So if you write a delegated query, the query is executed instead pulling all data into the app. They grab just the data that you need to retrieve, okay? Because you delegate the query to the data source and get just the data you need. Instead, no delegation formulas are processed locally on your device, and this can cause two problems. First one, performance issue, and the second one is that to mitigate performance issue, you can local processing from 1 to 2,000 rows at the maximum. Then, if you have more than 2,000 rows, if your formula is not delegated, don't retrieve all data. I show it later. The second one of the simplest powerful way to speed up loading time is use app formulas. So some people use app starts or page load, but if you move your logic and your formula in app formulas, you reduce the loading time also in app and in Power Apps Studios. Named formula improve performance because all formulas are evaluated independently each other, and you can reduce the load time up to 18%. Then you can, if you don't need to access to data every time, you should consider to cache some data, for example, using collection, and access to the collection instead to request the data continuously to your data source. And in addition to this, another tip that I can give you is to use the show column to retrieve just columns you need. So cache information and access to cache inside data source, and also show column to reduce the columns that you retrieve. In this way, small request is usually more speedily that retrieve all columns if you don't need. Then sometimes you need to update a series of records and not just one record. So in this way, you should try to do a batch patch instead using for all and execute one update at a time. In this case, I create a collection with a table which is include a lot of rows. And one approach is to patch products with the same columns gathered by entire call update products, which is my collection. So in this case, we can execute a batch patch instead for all every single row. I show you also this one later. And another tips is concurrent. Concurrent is a function that allows us to parallelize the execution of the part of code. For example, if you use to do some operations, you can use concurrent to execute all together in the same times. And sometimes it can you can improve the performance of our application. So another tips is can I suggest you to limit the number of the controls in your application. If you have a lot of controls, you should evaluate to split your application in different apps. And another tip is do not reference control between different screens, because otherwise Power Apps need to load this control. And you should use a gallery to display different repetitive controls. So limit the number of controls. If you have a lot of controls split in different apps, do not reference control between different screens, and use gallery to display different repetitive controls. Place for all appropriately. In this case, I can show two approaches. I have a collection, and if I collect or do something with data in another collection, one approach is to execute for all X collect Y. So I'll do something in collect Y collection. But in this case, for all are executed for each rows of X. Another approach is to collect Y and put for all inside. So collect Y, then for all X and do something. In the first pattern, so any attendant rule on collection is notified of changes and evaluated for each interaction. In the second ones, all rules are evaluated once. So is a best approach. Okay, then the last one from theory part of view, then we can see a small demo. I can suggest you to save and publish your application frequently, because when you publish a Canvas app, your application is updated and run the last version of our apps. So you can get the benefit of the latest feature and performance upgraded add since your last published. So pay attention, because if you haven't published an app for several months, you may see an immediate performance benefits when you republish your application. So I think this is old but gold tips from my point of view. Then I want to show a demo. Let me stop sharing and open my environment. One second. Okay. Okay. So basically what we have here, I created a SharePoint site called Employee Asset Tracker, and I generated two lists. One is employee and the second one is assets. And with the PowerShell script, I generate some random data for employees and assets. Let me show. Okay. We have a lot of employees with the full name, which is the title of the list, department, email, and role. And in the second list, I have a title of the assets, generated randomically, asset type, the status, assigned to, purchase date, location, and costs. So the idea is to show you two kind of application. The first one is called Worst, but it's the same app, and the second one is Asset Tracker Best. So I show you the code, and see some difference between the apps. Okay, so the idea is to have an application that allows us to see employee assets, a small dashboard, and then I have a page test to show you something that you see in the slide. I start from the test, and I want to show the for all before. So what I do here, we have a code where we set a variable start time to with the now. Then I get data from employee from SharePoint with a lot of filters and collect in our collection information. Then I clear the call employee 2, and for each row of call employee 1, we are going to collect information in call employee 2. When it finishes, set the end time and calculate the milliseconds of execution. So if I do play here. It starts. And this is the result. The second one, as the same way, is a calculated start time to. I create another collection called the call employee tree. Same query, call employee for collect, but in this way I switched and I don't do for all first, but I collect and then for all. And the second and the rest is the same to calculate data. And did execute a little bit. Let me check again. The demo effect. Okay. The second times Power Apps do some cache, but as you can see, the concurrent is a little bit. It requires less time than we can see also in the monitor. And we'll do some reset. And the first, in the first demo, I create a collection called call random products. For all sequence, I create a random random process. Random products and random in stock value, so true or false. And in the first button, I'll iterate for all each row of call random product and do some patch and save to test product, which is the third list in our SharePoint list, in our SharePoint site, sorry, and calculated execution time. The second button, it execute it in batch, in batch. So let me start. Create collection, single, and waits. It's running. There are 3 dots in the top of the screen, which is indicate us that is in execution. And probably you can also see the counter. Yes, is increasing. It's running because it's executed for every time. And the second way, okay, this is the time. We can execute batch patch with the same collection. Okay, it's really, really quick. So this is the way if you have to patch a lot of data as the best as possible. Okay. Then another fun fact is this one. So we are going to employees screen, and here we have the list of employees, and my query show the yellow triangle because I use in, and in is not delegable formulas. Okay. So in our employees list, we have a list of employees which has more than 2,000 employees. Okay. And if I go to found, for example, Lisa Moore, okay, I found it. This is the ID of the Lisa. But If I looking for example, Emily Cox, from the end user point of view, there are no errors because end user doesn't see the yellow triangle. Sorry, the name was Emily Cox. And the user doesn't find anything. So for this reason, you should pay attention to your query, because when your users, business user, execute your application, it doesn't see yellow triangle, it doesn't understand if there are delegation problems or not, but probably you don't find anything. Otherwise, this is true if you have more than 2,000 elements. If you aren't sure that you have less than 2,000 elements, you can also, for example, caching and use data inside cache or write not delegable query. Okay, but if you have more, you must pay attention. Go back. The same approach is for assets, but assets is less than delegable limits. So in this case, we don't have a problem. We can apply some filters. And the idea here is to show you that we don't have, we have a delegation warning. And what I want to show here that is if you have a part of query which is delegable and part of query which is not delegable, because filter here has in and has this filter, the complete result is that your query is not delegable. So if you have part delegable or not, your query is not delegable. So you can pay attention. Then I calculated a small dashboard which show you assets by type, and this is calculated on the application on start event. So on start, I set a lot of variables, and I set varchart assets by type, which for all, and calculate our assets by type. Okay, this is calculated on start, but we don't really need to calculate this one here, okay, because it's not in the first screen. So I want to show how to check on the monitor this one. And then we are going to see the best version of the app. So if you select your application and click on Live Monitor, okay, you can do you can invite some colleague to check the same monitor session, or you can play published app and pass the link to your user to check issues when user execute your application. In my case, I'll do play. Okay, start is inform us that you are in a debug session, and you can also check a red bullet here. And with monitor, you can see what the application do every time you do something. In this case, I didn't click anything, so this is the execution just for run your application, okay? And you have also the duration in milliseconds. Okay, so if I ordinate to duration, I can see that we have a performance warning on application start. And this is the duration because he do to get rows from assets, gets rows from employee, and the time consuming data. Okay. So I want to show the best version of my application, and then we can take around also the monitoring for this one. Okay, so I have basically I have the same version of my application, but as you can see, I don't have anything in on start. Okay, but I can do anything on the same way of the first application, and I have also dashboard. Okay. But I don't have anything in on start, so I moved all logic in app formulas, and I have the choice as the previous to use in my filter. I have the global assets count, global employees, which is used in my home screen. This one, which is not delegable, so it show just the number of the item that we can retrieve because it is not delegable, but using formula. So is better because every execution is run when I need. And then I also created a prepare of data and pie chart. So I use show column to limitate the number of column returns. I group by assets by asset type, and I do count, and then I prepare a function to my pie. And what I want to show is the different when I run the same version of application. If I open the live monitor for best, okay, it's loading. I can do publish up here and see the difference. Okay. Okay. Some query is not delegable as a first version of the app, but as you can see, is really, really different from the first. Okay. Because in the first case, everything are executed on start. In the second case, every are executed when in need, in a different way. Okay. So this is a game changer, in my opinion. Then, last but not least, I want to show. Let me here best. Okay. I'm going to find the employee, and here I have a query, okay, which is delegable because I used starts with, okay, instead in of the previous application. So let me check the name again. I try to find Emily Cox. First. And it's return me the result. Okay. Because the query is delegated to our data source, it's executed by our data source, and data source apply the query, get the information, and retrieve as data. Okay. So when it's possible, you should use a delegable query for this reason. In this case, for your business user, then doesn't need exist a problem to find the data if your data source are bigger than 2000 elements or more. Okay, this is not a problem for Power Apps, but you should write a delegable query. And then I want to see the monitor. Let me close the first for now. Okay, this is the best. Okay, let me come back. Then I reply to all your question in the chat. Don't worry. So I want to show this one. Okay, start again. Wait, play publish. Okay, so this is the monitor. Now I want to clear data and dashboard data is called when I click on the link because it's used here. So it don't load everything from the start, but is loaded when I need to use data. And want to show also the employee. Want to clear data again. Emily Fox. Okay, and as you can see, you can. It's really quick. Duration is really quick because it's delegated to our data source. So let me show for the first version the live monitor to different between batch patch and for all. Play published. Okay. Slowing. Okay, it's loading. Really slow. Clear. Go to test. Want to clear. Okay. And let's start with single for all. Okay. And this is the result. Collect rows by rows, row by row. Okay. And as you can see, the button is this one. And the difference between the second approach is this one. Okay. So I suggest you to also, if your application go correctly, have to check always what live monitor tell us, because you can understand something is done behind the scenes. Okay. Okay, let me back to my slide. Okay, I reply to the message on chat, so don't worry. There is the survey. I want to thanks to Heba and Mohamed for organize these have some events. Thank you, and thanks also for local sponsors. And if you need the results more the all information that I show you is on officiallearnmicrosoft.com under Power Apps and create a performance app overview that you can use to check all that I show you in my session. I'm finished.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.